Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I'm continuing with Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti. So my last episode, we took on a few more stages in this game. In this particular episode, we're going to finish off the game by taking on the last two stages. Stages 6 and 7, I believe. So first we have to do a long climb up a vertical scrolling stage here. Not scrolling auto style, but rather scrolling with us going up and our little shotgun here. We're gonna have lots of different enemies to take out. This is a very annoying level in many ways because basically these bridges you can fall through, and if you fall through them, then what will happen is you'll have to replay the entire vertical scrolling part of the level. So fortunately, we're going to try to be very careful here and not fall through any of the holes, and also not jump multiple times on the bridge planks either, because that'll lead to us dropping through as well. And here we're just going to run underneath everything and get to the other side as quickly as possible. When I was practicing this level, that was the part that I would very regularly fall off on, was that last little bit there. The enemies would hit me, knock me backwards, and then I would end up having to redo the entire part of the level. But we are not done. We have more to do. More of these stupid bats. And of course, a little bit more of the level to go. But not nearly as frustrating because now we don't have to deal with the bridges. Just these annoying pumpkin heads spitting little pumpkin heads at us, which is not too bad. And we are through the level. We get an ominous little blackout here. And now we're going to head into the mansion for the final stage of the game. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the same mansion from Splatterhouse 1. It is called Hell House, and the story will soon be completed. Indeed it will. So we're going to head into stage 7 here. It's not actually that long of a stage, but there is a frustrating part of it right up here at the end of the first little part here. When you drop through, if you don't hold to the right, this little guy will grab you. He's going to throw you into this skull area here, and it's going to chomp on you. And it doesn't actually kill you, but rather it sends you to another part of the level and makes you fight one of the bosses again. But we don't want to do that, so we're going to skip it. So instead, if you hold to the right, you can drop past this guy and then go through this door, and that will actually take you to another hidden level, which is Egypt. You know, that noteworthy horror area, which has these little planks, again, that you can fall through in the ground. We're going to try to avoid them. But as you can see, they're not easy with the enemy placement. It's very cruel, trying to essentially get us to drop down through them and then hit us over and over again. So we're going to try to avoid some of these enemies because this next enemy up here is very annoying. We're just going to zoom past it. That thing is invincible, I believe. You can stun it with a weapon, but I don't think you can actually kill it. Or if you can kill it, it takes a lot of shots. But if you end up getting caught by that character in the first part of the stage, what ends up happening is you end up having to fight the chainsaw boss again. And then you end up having to do an extra part of the level too that you don't have to do otherwise if you take the secret entrance here to Egypt. So we're going to have another dance. This time it's not a kimono girl, but rather it is an Egyptian queen. So maybe Cleopatra, I don't know. Obviously the only horror thing I can think of with Egypt is possibly something like the mummies. But we didn't really see a lot of mummies in this particular level. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of dance this is. Is that supposed to be seductive? It certainly is potentially seizure-inducing. Fortunately, I don't have that issue. And hopefully none of you do either. There's definitely some flashing lights that are going to be happening in this particular episode of this series. But we get our second magical ball here. The second crystal ball. And you do need both of them to get the quote-unquote true ending of the game. So we will grab it, and we will continue onward through stage 7. Alright, so we're halfway through. Now we have some of the more frustrating traps to deal with. We have crazy eyes in the background on these clocks, as well as these hands getting thrown at us from the clocks. Not too bad to time as long as you take your time here and do a little shimmy back and forth. And then some of the most annoying rooms in the game. Somewhat reminiscent of some of the previous rooms, and then of course also from Splatterhouse 1. Which does make me think that maybe this is supposed to be the same mansion as in that game. The arcade original. Now, the bats here will actually grab you and try to throw you in pits, so as long as you hold away from the pit, you should be able to fall where you want to go. And then this room has these annoying specter enemies again, which shoot their souls at you after you kill them. So we're going to get through it as quickly as possible. And that is it. Now we just have the final boss. We're going to drink a little soda here, get a nice cola, legally distinct so that we don't violate any copyrights. And we're going to head in to the final boss encounter with the Pumpkin King himself. So the Pumpkin King is very long and arduous. It takes 16 hits to kill the Pumpkin King. So he's going to bounce around the room, and then he's going to reappear, and you have to jump up and hit him. So dodge him while he bounces around the room, and then once he appears, you typically want to be right underneath him because there's a safe spot there. Otherwise you got to deal with all of these little pumpkins that he throws out at you. And again, you have to slash him 16 times. So for the speedrun of this game, they do a massive countdown, keeping track of how many times they've hit him. I've already lost track. I think that's maybe 5 or 6 so far. I don't know. Let's assume 5. And we'll keep track from here. So that's 6. And then once you beat the game, hopefully, we kill the boss here. If we don't die, then you get the ending, and then obviously if you have the 2 crystal balls, you get the quote-unquote true ending, which adds a couple of extra scenes to the ending, which sort of set up the arcade game. So what are we on, 8? Are we halfway there? I'm gonna assume 8. You really think I'd be able to keep track here, but I'm too focused on dodging. So is that 9? Then you got the creepy boogeyman style in the back there from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Or I guess from the Pumpkin King himself. But the smile is different. So is that 10? Ah, what a long battle. They probably could have cut it down to 12. Or maybe 10 hits here. I mean, it really, I guess, just extends the length of the game. It's not like it's really dangerous once you get the pattern down, but I guess you could say that for any boss in the series. So once we're done with this, we'll show off the ending. It does include some Japanese. This was never actually translated into English on this particular version of the game. And so I will post the Google Translate version of what the Japanese says, and of course will not vouch for the accuracy of it. But we can laugh at it, because it doesn't make a ton of sense. But there we go! 16 hits, and the Pumpkin King is down. We have finished Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti. That makes the 3rd game in the series that I have now completed. The arcade original, the TurboGrafx version as well, and now this version too. As we have Jennifer here crying. Oh, our love, and our little chibi forms here. It's so good to see you. But that means for the next game in the series, I will be taking on Splatterhouse 2 at some point in the future. But here's the big twist. Why was it all these famous movie villains? It was because it was just a movie, and this very odd-looking director. It was quite an exciting experience. No, how did it turn out? Nice. Okay. Again, I don't actually read Japanese, that's just what Google Translate said, so if it was horribly butchered, you know who to blame. But Rick drops the terror mask here, the hell mask. And then we actually find out that it is possessed, as we know in the later games. And you can tell which of the parts of the stage here are going to start moving around, because they're not actually moving during this part here until they start flying around the room. But there we go. We finished the game, and now we're going to get the 2 special scenes for the crystal balls. Here's the first one that we got from the Kimono Girl. A happy couple, but Rick's face looks kind of weird. The fact that he's bald in the back like that. And here is the second one. A Geki attacks the 2 of them. Now, I don't know if that's, I assume, the Japanese name for the terror mask, or maybe the person that lured them to the mansion in the first place. But when I tried to Google it, it essentially was like, Higeki is a character in Splatterhouse who has a voice actor, so I assume it's either the scientist or the mask itself. But fortunately, the movie Splatterhouse has been completed. Thank you, you are great! Winners don't use drugs. And then we'll see the staff here. So as always, viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti, one of the less appreciated games in the series. And for my next take on this particular series, we'll take on a Splatterhouse 2 for the Sega Genesis. I'll have to decide which version I'm going to play. I actually have it on my Wii U, downloaded from the Wii eShop, and then I also, I think, have it on one of the Sega Minis. But I'll see y'all in my next episode for my next series. So long! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time!